Lucero.
Hello.
And Francisco Ordaz.
Hello.
I'm going to make that happen yet.
Wait,
And then you're throwing a British accent on me on top
air.
of that? Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, I know. I like to confuse people. Keep
Yeah, well, you
people
do a
on their
fine job of
toes.
that, buddy. So, all right. We've got an abbreviated episode here today because we're all on a time crunch because John's got football stuff he's got to take care of, and yeah?
Yeah, I have to take care of it. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good way to put it.
And Franky is literally on his lunch break from work here to chime in with us, so I figure we'll kind of power through, especially since it's only been 5 days since we did the last one. So, anyway, John, you've been playing Destiny 2. Why don't you go and talk about that a little bit?
It's Destiny this time with cutscenes. All right, moving on. Thank you, Franky. What have you been playing? I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I really like Destiny 2, guys. It's a really good game, and it in a lot of ways it is still very much Destiny. But the core of Destiny was always good, like the shooting and the looting got better. It was not. I guess it wasn't all that part wasn't always as good as it could have been. But the problem with the first Destiny for a lot of people was the lack of motivations for doing anything and clear objectives. You kind of just spent most of the time running around, holding square for your ghost to scan something while you shot enemies, and then moving on to do that again in some other area. This time, they have a very clear story with actual cutscenes in them, where characters perform lines and things happen. So it's
Yeah, we all know
a big
Bungie's
step
known for
up.
their storytelling.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not going to sit here and say it's great writing. It is, I think it's on par with Halo's writing. So take that as you will.
Somebody who's
there is
read one of the books. Oh boy, okay.
There's a clear villain though. He's pretty much Space Bane, as I guess is a good way to take him. Maybe a little less depth than Bane. I don't know. He's starting to get some. Although I'm almost toward the end anyway. I have only a handful of missions left in the story. I am level 20, which is the max level.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very much in the vein of mini loot games. The goal of the game is to get to max level so you can actually start playing the real game, which is the end game of those games, and getting the real good loot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just got to 20 like this morning, a few hours ago, and that was about after 10, 12 hours of playing, I think. So, and yeah, the game really starts to open up in the later levels too, even before you get to 20. It's got a different structure than the first game, in that in vanilla Destiny. The strikes, which are like sort of dungeons, I get, and because there's MMO stuff and loot and other loot, and then regular loot game stuff going on in this, and strikes are like basically dungeons, instance things that are one off. Do all these objectives, fight a boss at the end, and they're actually usually very well done. There was some of the best stuff in original Destiny, and I've only done one so far, and it was awesome. It was a cool one-off area in the game in the boss was more than just a bullet sponge, so that was nice. There were some mechanics involved.
I was gonna say, what was the difference there? If it wasn't just a bullet sponge.
It was just like it was more like capture and hold areas too, with swarms of enemies coming at you while he is shielded off and shooting at you.
Okay.
So there's just some more mechanics thrown in. The raids actually have some pretty mechanics heavy boss fights, so they take some of that and add it to the strike bosses now. Although I think they did that in the last couple expansions too. But anyway, the structure of it in the first Destiny, like you got the first strike on Earth, like it was part of the main storyline. Like the main progression was all the strikes would unlock over time, almost all of them. I think some of them unlocked after you beat it, but in this one, they gate off strikes till level 15, I think, and also till you complete a certain part of the amount of story missions. So it makes the first chunk of Destiny feel a little lighter than the original one did. Like it feels like you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over, because other than the story missions, there are like these they're called adventures, and they're basically side quests, which is kind of cool. That actually has not been in Destiny before, at least in this manner, where out in the open zone areas, there'll be you find this. It'll have some flavor text to tell you what you're gonna be doing, and then there'll actually be like character dialogue in there, and sometimes boss fights at the end and stuff. And it'll be a pretty sizable side quest compared to what was in the original game. But other than that, there's only, I think there seem to be a finite amount of those. So other than that, and then the story missions and multiplayer, if you want to do multiplayer, are it's pretty light on content. So I'd say that early Destiny 2 might be a little less interesting than early Destiny 1, but I think it actually makes the end game way better than the first Destiny, which was the problem with the first Destiny, was that once you beat, like, the story was like, what do I do now? So in that sense, it makes you feel like there's more to do. And plus there's a lot of stuff just unlocks towards the end game too. Well, just like patrols, which are just one-off, like go do this many things for missions, go kill these many enemies or whatever. It's just, and then of course the more strikes, and then there's a Nightfall strike, which is like the super hard version of one of the strikes each week. That gives you really good rewards. And then of course the raid, which won't unlock till the 13th, I think, and that is 6-man squads in a very intensive quest there that will last you multiple hours, generally on your first go through. So like I've only ever done one raid because it's hard to get six people together to do something unless you go online and like do it with random people, and I have no interest in doing that. But and that it took us 5 hours to beat it, and 7 actually if you don't count the 2 breaks we took it in between. So that was a night-long activity.
So do you need a full team to do that, or can you go in with less than 6?
You need 6. Need well, I want to say that you need 6. There might be some ways to game the system, but generally there are things you do in those raids that require 6 people. So
okay.
They're very well designed. They're the best parts of Destiny. It's unfortunate that they're hard to do, but it also makes them feel more special when you actually get to do them. Mm-hmm. And they are making it easier in this version with a thing called guided games, which they're putting it into beta soon, and it'll be fully unlocked towards the end of the month. But it's a system where you can, as one person, find a clan to join and do stuff like the raids or Nightfalls. Nightfalls are just 3-man squads, but I don't think there's any matchmaking in Nightfalls. There might be, I don't know. But yeah, so it's just I have not gotten quite to the end game stuff yet. I'm very close, and I also haven't played with any friends yet. My friends are getting it. The ones I'm going to be playing with get it this week, so it's hard to make a full judgment on the game yet because co-op is a big factor in how fun that game is. It's one of the better co-op games I've ever played, and that's kind of like where that game shines. Uh-huh. So, but yeah, I mean, the art is fantastic in that game. Like it's like screenshot of the game at times. Just how many like skyboxes. Like Bungie's always been good at skyboxes, but it looks fantastic. The sound. Mm-hmm. The soundtrack, which was already good in the first Destiny, is even better this time around. There's a little more variety to it. There's even a couple prog rock sounding tracks too, which were surprising.
You've got my attention.
Yeah, there's one track on Titan, which seems to be like the open world track, like the zone track, which has a cool like guitar riff opening to it that I really like. I really like Destiny when it's good. There are times when it's like, I think the biggest problem, it's a really small problem in the grand scheme of things, but it's also really, really unfortunate decision they made. In the original game, the shaders were a thing that would consolidate the color of your armor, so you'd be matching. So you could just throw a shader on, and all your armor looks like it fits together. Mm-hmm. And in this game, well, now this time you can individually put shaders on items, so it has a little more customization to it that way. the shaders are consumables this time. So once you put it on something, you can't. If you take it off, it's gone forever. So it's just a way to monetize shaders, which seems like a really shitty thing to do. Because and again, it's a really small thing, but being able to change the color of your outfits in that game was always a fun thing to do. And
yeah,
it's like the fact that they didn't have to do that and they did it anyway is really frustrating.
Yeah, and I hear the problem that a lot of people really have with it is if you get a shader early on, then you know, if you use that, then it's not going to apply to any new stuff that you pick up. So
yeah, like I have not used it. I just used mine for the first time today, and I just because I like the way it looked. But I'm going to get new armor soon. That's going to replace all that armor. At the level I'm at right now, like I'm not even rocking like full legendary sets yet. I have like one piece of legendary stuff. So yeah, I'm still a while I'll be trading out stuff to increase. It's called power in this game. It was light previously, but it's your gear level, and you need that for doing raids and nightfalls. So, like there are gear it tells you the recommended and required amount of like required power level for everything. Like the minimum, but the minimum is usually not quite good enough. You usually have to be a little over the minimum to be competitive at all. The multiplayer is better this time because they changed a basic thing about the game in that originally your loadout was your primary weapon, secondary weapon, and then your heavy weapon. And in this one, you now have a primary weapon, a kinetic weapon, which is just regular ammo, an energy weapon, which is the elemental ammo, and then power weapons. And they put shotguns and snipers into power weapons. And I think that was a multiplayer balance thing because the original game was very heavy on shotguns and stuff in multiplayer. So I think if I was gonna guess why they did that, really, I would say that's why. But it allows you to have two assault rifles or a assault rifle submachine gun or whatever. But I think it makes it a little easier to manage because enemies are shielded and shields take more damage from energy weapons. So it's easy to know. I'll just switch to my other weapon. That's just the one that works really good against that. So it gives you a little less loadout management. And so it's a little easier that way, and I've liked it. The guns are the designs of the guns a little more varied this time too. They look really good, of course. So yeah, like I said, the art in this game is just fantastic. It's everything around the game is really good, and they made a bunch of little small changes that I could explain, but they wouldn't mean anything to you if you hadn't played the first one anyway.
Yeah, that's sort of my thing with even like strikes. Like I don't even know what the hell you're talking about with that. So
yeah, it's like a dungeon in an MMO, I guess. I never really played an MMO, but it's just like a story thing, kind of. The boss at the end. It's a mission with a boss generally. It's but they're little, and it's three man teams go in. So they're really good. They're the best. Those strikes, nightfalls, and raids are the best things in Destiny because it's co-op, and it definitely requires teamwork, especially the harder stuff. But yeah, I like it a lot. It's I'll be surprised. The only shooter I think I probably like more than this maybe is Wolfenstein, but right now this is really up there for me, even with the minor complaints and the whatever story. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if first-person shooters are a destination spot for storytelling most of the time. So I don't know if that would really disappoint me too much.
I just appreciated those cutscenes now. Actually, like they're really well done. They look good. Like the game, like the fact that the game looks good makes it easier to watch too. There is this funny thing that happens. Like every time it cuts to like the bad guys, it like flashes their symbol on screen first. So I was thinking like, meanwhile, the Legion of Doom. Every time it does that. So that's been funny for me every time. But yeah. I hear the ending's pretty good, actually. All things considered. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that's true or not. um, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to more Destiny, especially with friends soon. So because it's not quite as good by yourself. I don't recommend necessarily this game for people if they don't have people to play with.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You mean a shooter that's sort of designed around multiplayer focus and cooperation isn't as fun by itself.
Yeah, like you can totally play it all by yourself. It's just not as fun.
Kind of sad and lonely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing Final Fantasy XIV by yourself.
Yeah,
it's possible, but
and the game is you over level past a lot of these general single player content pretty fast. So if you want a real challenge, you're gonna have to play with other people. So yeah, I think that's all. Jason, I recommend you check out the soundtrack if you get a chance, and I think you might find some stuff you like in there.
I might check that out there. Yeah. Like I said, I own plenty of soundtracks to games that I actually haven't played or owned. So
yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'll check it out. So, all right, Frankie, you have been playing some No Man's Sky. So, did you pick this up when it first came out, or are you kind of recent?
No, I didn't. So I was actually really looking forward to this game before it released.
That's been like I was planning now, to get it
nearly. Yeah,
all
the news that came out about it was like, wow, this looks like just right up my alley. This is exactly what I want. Something that doesn't necessarily have a real goal to it. You're just kind of exploring around space, checking things out.
I do have. So, did you jump in because of the new update they did recently? Was that what got you to try it?
Yes, precisely.
Okay. So, I don't remember what they added in the update. Do you have an idea what's different between the two, or because I did not play original No Man's Sky.
So, a lot of people I know were complaining about the variations in the worlds, that it wasn't very varied. The creatures that you see.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, my big complaint was all this like, there's all these the variety of like animals that you can see and everything, and it's just like some of them just like make no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
we're talking like like brachiosaurs with like insect legs or something like that. It's like why? How would that even work?
Yeah, like people compared it a lot to like just spore abominations, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, going through it, it looks like they addressed all those issues. Apparently, people are really in love with the grass.
With the grass?
Yeah, apparently it must have looked really bad before. I mean, I don't have like an amazing PC, so I mean, I don't have everything on like full quality. I mean, it looks great, but yeah, I can just only assume that it looked horrible before. So now it's, I guess, bright and vibrant and looks more flowy. So
how's the frame rate? I feel like I remember there being a lot of frame rate issues when it first came out. I might be crazy, but I feel like there were.
It was actually, so I was really worried when I first started it up, because I when everything was loading just in like the main menus, I was getting like a lot of frame rate drops. But then towards the end of the first time it was loading up, like everything started like running smoothly. The whole star intro traveling through space thing started working. Like I want to say it was at a full 60 frames. I didn't have a counter up, but it looked super smooth. And I want to say that I had some stuttering every now and then, but it was rare, and I mean, for the most part, it was running great. And again, that's probably more to do with my PC than the game itself. So
your mileage may vary, especially if you've got a PS4, maybe.
Yeah. So, but actually, one thing I should note is I decided to try to use the Switch Pro controller with my PC. That thing was amazingly easy to set up. As long as you have a Bluetooth and Windows 10, it just connects. You just have to search for it in the Bluetooth settings, hit the button on the controller to pair, and it was done like that. Super easy.
That is pretty nice.
That's awesome.
There's
The days when
the new Xbox One controllers do the same thing too because they're Bluetooth.
Yeah. So starting it up, I actually started in survival mode, and I was super lost. Like I was on a planet that was like an ice planet, so I only had like 3 to 4 minutes before my life support ice thermal whatever stuff ran out. So everything was way too far away for me to get to. I was even trying to get to some caves to try to, stay alive, and it was super difficult, and I had no idea what I was doing, so I had to just kind of go to the super easy mode and try things out. And that I fared a lot better in that by far.
All right. They added a lot of story stuff to this, I want to say, too.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, I want to say this. People were not happy with the story in the original release. I hear they added a lot of stuff to it or changed it. Can you say anything about that?
Well, I haven't really done a whole lot. That was the thing. So, I just did my first jump.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still very early on for sure. I mean, I want to say I've only put in about maybe 5 hours.
See, I'll be very curious to see how that holds up for you because I played it where I hit a loop of, well, this is just what you do kind of endlessly, and it just wore very thin on me very quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I think I've kind of already gotten a sense of that, where I was like, well, it's like, okay, now I need to find more stuff to make the next jump. Like it once you make that first one, it almost immediately wants you to do that right away. It doesn't seem like much story in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, luckily I already had all the items on me. I was ready to go to make another jump. I just had to go buy one of the things. And so, yeah, I can see how that might be an issue later on. So, and I've heard that that's a lot of people's complaints as well. It gets super repetitive. But as I was starting to kind of think that, I remembered, okay, I just kind of want to go explore and kind of look around. So I think before I continue on and make the second jump, I'm actually going to visit some planets in the system that I'm in and kind of take a look at life forms, because that was the initial thing that attracted me to it. I wanted to, just explore space, like fly from one planet to the next and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem that I really have with that is that you don't really seem to have that many inventory slots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes you need quite a bit of stuff to get from one planet to the next. It feels like my resources get depleted a little too quickly for me to make it as enjoyable as I would like it to be.
Yeah, I do remember kind of running into that experience there with it, where it just felt like, just as I kind of start exploring, I'm just running out of inventory room and I have to go back and dump my stuff off. And it's like, okay, well, this is, I don't know. I mean, I suppose it adds to the realism if you want to of that, but I don't know.
I feel like making that game a survival game was actually a mistake. I think they should have just gone with the laid back, easy exploration game instead. And I feel like it might have been more successful that way.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe what Yonder was doing. That Gore just put a review up on the site for it a couple days ago. That sounds more like what No Man's Sky should have tried to have done, basically.
I'm not even familiar with that. So.
Combat in this game is nothing particularly interesting. So, here, shoot your mining gun. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The way that the game is positioned, it's almost like I don't want to knock them for not putting too much into the story, because it feels like there shouldn't be much of a story. It feels like a very Minecrafty game. Where there's this thing that you can do, but that's not really the point of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I don't know if there's going to be enough content Other than, find this thing, collect all the stuff, fly to the next planet, collect all the stuff, fly to the next planet. That might just get very, very dull after a while. Yeah.
That's what turned me off initially.
Yeah, you made the Minecraft comparison, and like I'm not a big Minecraft guy in general, but like Minecraft has so many. I will admit, Minecraft has so much shit you can do.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what your goal is. You kind of make your own goal in that game. And I do know that they added a bunch of base building stuff. I think that was an expansion before this, but I think they added more to it this time. Are you far enough in to do any base building, or have you touched that at all?
So I've seen it, but I haven't tried any of it yet. I kind of see, and this is again part of the problem. I want to see, because it's clear that I haven't unlocked everything that I can upgrade yet, and I'm sure there's other schematics that I can get, and things I don't know about. So before I start building a base, I think I want to try to see what else I can get. But that's the thing, is that it feels like I don't know how much there is to it that I need to find, or if I should just start doing it right away. So it's a little it's a little weird in that aspect, because like for instance, the whole inventory stuff, I kind of expected there to be relatively quickly a way to upgrade your storage, and so far that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, good. That's something they haven't fixed then from the initial thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, am I ever going to be able to do this? I don't know. Like, I'm really leaning at this point that maybe I need to just go online and see what is available, so I can know. Mm-hmm. Okay, should I start doing this stuff? Because that's something that I did with Minecraft also, there's not a whole lot of answers that the game gives to you immediately, so you're kind of encouraged to, in my opinion, to seek out help from the community at large. So
yeah,
so I might do that and see what I should do. But that being said, I am having a lot of fun with it. I do want to spend more time in it. The planets are really amazing, actually. So the issue of people saying, that they're all bland and that, for the most part, they all seem the same. I haven't felt that way. Not yet. Of course, I've only visited, I want to say maybe about 6 planets so far.
Okay. Yeah.
But so far they've been pretty varied. It's really cool finding little islands or whatever that have like the monuments, and seeing the way that's all set up, and exploration so far has been great. It's definitely where that game shines. I haven't ran into any space pirates, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
As one does,
Yeah, I've heard it's kind of depressing when it happens, because it can be pretty disastrous, but still, it's something that I want to experience. So
yeah, they're done getting their ass kicked by Samus, so now they're going after you.
Right.
Yeah,
pick on this weaker guy over here.
I part of me wants to try that game eventually. Like that whole. Like, just the fact that like seamless flying down to a planet thing is so cool. I've always thought that's really cool.
Oh yeah, it's great too, because you can turn on like your super fast boosters or whatever, and you go directly into the planet. And at first I thought, oh crap, I'm gonna have to slow down, and I didn't in time. But it does like this really nice seamless transition where it's like, okay, you're close enough to a planet, so we're like going to press the brakes for you and get you to glide in. Really cool.
See, I would love if they would like let you do that, like that super fast, and then you just slam into the planet and kill yourself. Like, I would love that.
It's just game over. It like deletes your save. You got to start over.
Right. I gotta try that to see how well you can, if you just aim straight down at the ground. I haven't gone destructive in this yet, so maybe I need to mess around with it.
Yeah. Space
that was
cops after you.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, just get the space cops to chase after you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that interesting.
No, there are space cops. They're just like robots that chase you if you do bad stuff.
Oh, right. Like
Yeah.
if you're mining too much, that's what somebody told me. I haven't ran across that. Like I've seen the drones, and
Yeah.
they haven't. There was one once where when I was walking around and came over and kind of checked me out, but I haven't had an issue where they've attacked me, except for one instance where there was one planet I landed on and they were just immediately hostile to me.
Yeah, I had that a few times with the drones. It was like, okay, well, fuck you too, and yeah. See, that's my thing. Is like, okay, if these space cops are gonna like go after you because you're mining too much, that is the like one gameplay mechanic in this thing. Well, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
I,
really confused as to why that would happen.
I mean, I get the logic, but because I mean, it's like you're just you come on this planet and just start stealing their resources. Like I would be upset too if someone just came down and started doing that, even though it's one dude with a spaceship. But yeah,
I don't even have big
mechanically
pockets. I can't take that much.
Right?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's just so many like little like niggling things about that game that I'm like, oh, this game had so much there that I thought it might do, and for me, like the just not their story was a big turnoff. Like I would talk to people and just or the aliens or whatever that are, and just like, yeah, okay, like this is I mean, we're not even talking like passerby Citadel Mass Effect level characters for the most part. It's like not even anything that interesting, which was frustrating. So, yeah, that was. I mean, I guess that was my experience, and that was like when it initially launched. Like I picked it up, I'd say maybe within a week or two of it initially coming out, and I think within like 2 days I was burned out on the loop of it already. So,
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So there is one thing that I found that I know was part of the updates. There's supposed to be these crash freighters that you can salvage. You can get a bunch of items from it, I guess. And I wasn't able to actually get into the freighter that I found. I just could not find a way in. I don't know. Maybe I need something more, or I must be missing something. But I could see that there was tons of when you do the scanning, I could see there was tons of loot in there. So I'm hoping I can figure that out. But it seemed like a really cool idea because like literally where I landed, it was like there's this huge ship that's just like stuck in the dirt, and it looked pretty awesome. You're just like, oh shit. Like it kind of gave me that that Star Wars vibe, when you're seeing Rey first go and trying to salvage the stuff inside the downed
Star Destroyer.
Whatchamacallit. Yeah. So hopefully I can figure out more of that. But I guess that's one of the new things.
Hopefully it's just not some bad placement, basically.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, given this game's nature, it's wholly possible, I suppose. But still, it's just like, I don't know. But
yeah, I heard that there are a lot of glitchy things too beforehand.
I can't say anything for sure. I said I haven't played it, so there were a lot of technical issues when it launched, from what I remember, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just remember.
I still don't think that they fixed the multiplayer issue that kind of they got in illegal trouble over. So.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wasn't the fact that there isn't actually multiplayer?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we're both in the same spot. Nobody. Nothing. Okay. Cool. Yeah. That's. Yeah. You'd think maybe. I don't know. Like, that game just reeked of Steam Early Access, and in early access when I got launched. So.
If that game released in early access, no one would have complained about it.
Nope.
It would have done super well if it had been released in early access.
Survival Evolved was like so bare bones when it first came out, and I mean, there's so much to that fucking game now that like, yeah, I remember like when I started playing, I started playing it like the first hour and a half, all you're doing is like punching fucking trees. But then, like, there's the house building, and then you can start taming dinosaurs and shit. It's like there's a good, I don't know, I think that's where No Man's Sky kind of was like falling on its face a little bit. The loop is there, but it's just like, get this, move on, get this, move on, get this, move on. There was no real sense of like planting any sort of roots or a base to build from. Like, okay, well, this is, I'm gonna go explore, but this is where these are the routes I'm going to plant. This is my fallback point. There's always that in Ark Survival Evolved. That's kind of why I didn't play it too long, but I latched onto it much more than I did No Man's Sky. That and the dinosaur thing. So
yeah, the dinosaur thing was always interesting to me. Like I watched some friends play when like a couple of years ago, their first time trying it out, and I still remember one moment when they were running through the woods in the middle of the night with some torches and like just arguing about something, and then all of a sudden they go, "Hey, what was that?" And they turn, and the torch illuminates just enough to see a T-Rex head with mouth agape coming out of the darkness towards them, and they just like, "Oh God, no!" And they take off. It's so that there's little things at that game that I appreciate. It's just the whole survival game part, and then the idea of playing with a community in that game. But
yeah, you know what? I think these games definitely they need that oh shit moment. Like again, going back to Minecraft, it's you see a creeper coming up on you like while you're mining, and immediately it's just oh fuck, like I need to get out of here now.
There's nothing like that in No Man's Sky, and I think that's a big hindrance on it.
Yeah, because I've heard like the space cops are really no threat at all, and then like it's just there's like no sense of urgency to that game, but except for the fact that it makes you have to find resources to survive, and that's a really poor choice to create urgency with. So,
yeah, agreed.
Like if you're gonna do that, you might as well just, like I said, just make it an exploration game and not, a laid back thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But okay, and here's the thing too. It's still $60.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I was not gonna pay that amount. I found a deal, I think, for like $25. So
that sounds more reasonable. Yeah.
That is really the only reason why I picked it up, because I could find it for a decent price. I don't think, at least even from what I've seen just this early on, that it would be worth $60. It just feels like there are parts that they do need to flesh out more, and hopefully that does eventually come. I mean, you look at these sort of games; they've been updated over the years, and they've all gotten better. So I pray to God that they continue to make these updates that really add what needs to come.
Yeah, unfortunately, from what you've told me though, what you've been talking about here, it sounds like like the problems I had with this game initially are still there, and it's a little disconcerting, over a year later that they're still working on this. I mean, like I said, with Ark, I played it was like the first release of this thing on the Xbox One, and like I said, just the initial thing of like, oh well, here I am punching trees so I can make some clothes for myself so I don't die. It seemed dumb, and then all of a sudden the dinosaur thing kind of came into it, and the base building and the exploration it's just like it all clicked. I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's something here. There was more than just a seed of something interesting. Like once I actually started playing it, it was like, okay, I don't know. It gave me more to do. Whereas I don't know. Like I said, my whole thing with No Man's Sky was go to planet, mine stuff, move. Go to planet, mine stuff, move. It's like, okay, well, this is literally all I'm going to do. It's like I would rather kind of play a dungeon crawler like RPG, and at least I can see like numbers go up and some sort of like general progression that gets held over into my next area. Where this, it just felt like, I don't know, just starting from scratch each time, and it gets really old real quick for me. So.
Well, we'll see. I'll keep playing away on it, and hopefully it won't be too long more till maybe it does open up more and I'm able to do more stuff, and I'll let you guys know.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how, since you're the only one that's kind of sticking with this thing, and I'm interested to see how it's come along, and if anything kind of, I don't know, keeps you going further. So. let's move on to the news section here, because Franky, you've got about 10, 15 minutes left?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, this generation is becoming the port generation. We'll just run these down real quick. Since we started this call, there's been another one that's been leaked out, John. But we'll start with the first one here that happened. I don't know, like maybe just before we recorded the last one, or just after we recorded the last one. LA Noire coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and the Vive exclusively, I guess. But it's also a VR case files thing, so it's not the full version of that.
Fuck yeah, Switch.
Huh?
Fuck yeah, Switch. That's the best part of that news.
I'm wondering if it's gonna be more like the 360 version, like not as pretty, but which is fine with me. I'll play that on this. Although I don't know, like that game, just like presentation wise, I would kind of like to play that on a TV, not just like Switch.
Yeah, I've never played it before. I think I'd be fine playing it on a Switch, but
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
With the Switch, you can still play it on a TV. Just saying.
Yeah. And then you can switch it to handheld mode. Thank you. That was appreciated.
So Okami's potentially coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Let's see. So Capcom's been not shoveling, because they've been putting stuff over kind of lovingly for the most part, but they've been bringing stuff to this generation in PC that wasn't previously there. So I don't see this one as too big of a shock. So if you're looking for a Zelda type game that's about 10 hours too long, Okami's coming.
I've never played Okami either. Like, I would love to play that. I'd love to try that game finally too.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, it's just out of I think it's like a 25-hour experience, and I think it's about 10 hours too long for that game. So. It's a little,
I've never played it either, so
however the length was, I would say like you could probably trim about half of that game off there, and it would have been fine. Actually, probably would have been a better experience. So, okay. So on top of that, Vanquish and Bayonetta looks like they're coming to PS4 and Xbox One. And I know we're all going to be excited about this, but it looks like the same retailer that leaked the Vanquish and Bayonetta thing is leaking the Shenmue 1 and 2 remasters.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So there's that. It's just mind-boggling.
Terrible games.
That's just going to. Yeah, I don't know. So, anyway, so that's the big port thing this week. So, yeah, God, that's a lot of fucking ports.
Yeah, Bayonetta and Vanquish, definitely the two I'm most excited about. I've never played Vanquish, and I love Bayonetta, so.
I'm kind of digging the Vanquish and LA Noire thing. Other than that, like I don't know, I could take or leave the rest of them. So.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been excited about any of these ports that are really coming.
Well, that's because you're a PC.
I don't know.
You just have access to this shit anyway. Us console plebes here, we don't really have that same luxury for the most part. So, and John, like you said, the one platform that is backwards compatible is the lesser of the two platforms, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the less popular one.
Yeah. Still doing fine, but yeah, it's just not as well. And I don't know, the tail on it is a little worrisome. But anyway, let's see. The Switch hits 1.5 million. Units sold in Japan in 26 weeks, whereas it took the PS4, wait for it, 69 weeks. My brother. What's up? Anyway, let's see. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that the Switch kind of took off that quickly over there. It just
right.
Oh, I mean, it's good news, but at the same time, it's like, wow, that is a quick turnaround for.
Yeah. Switch is great. I'm glad it's doing well.
Well, I mean, the Switch is literally what every fan wanted out of the Wii U.
Yeah, it's like
being able to walk more than 5 feet away from the fucking console and use the gamepad. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone loves the Switch that gets a Switch. They just they have that honeymoon phase when they just love to switch it between the TV and handheld over and over again. It's like, how is this even happening?
Yeah, I'm in that phase now of hey baby, can't we try something new?
Yeah.
getting a little old here. Is there anything new we can do? I mean, can we try a different position?
No, I'm
tired. Cool.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Let's just play Zelda again.
I just bought the Namco Museum so I could play Rolling Thunder on on the Switch, and I'm kind of feeling like we're just going to like old tried and true things here at this point. I'm like, okay, come on, guys. I mean, we gotta start getting a little something here that's original. I mean, granted, I don't know. I'm in the oddball, I guess, in the Nintendo universe fandom where I don't really have any interest in Mario. So like the Mario and Rabbids thing doesn't really interest me, and and Mario Odyssey doesn't really interest me. So it's like,
you just have no joy in your heart. It's okay. It
no,
happens.
I got plenty of joy. I got plenty of joy. Just not for Mario. Just hasn't done anything for me in like 15 years.
I'm really excited for all the indies that were announced.
Yeah, we talked about them last week. There's some good. Kentucky Route Zero and No More Heroes are my two highlights. I'm looking forward to playing both of those. I still believe we're going to be jacking off with the Joy-Con to charge up his sword. I'm almost 100% positive that's going to be in the game.
Yeah, 100% sure.
Yeah,
well,
you guys
Rumble,
will be. I won't be
feel
playing
everything.
it. So.
Yeah.
All right, here, real quick. Looks like the Pokemon company president. What is it?
I heard about that.
Yeah, Ishihara said he didn't think Switch was going to be successful, which was kind of surprising. I think, or here, the exact quote is, I told Nintendo that the Switch wouldn't be a success before it went on sale because I thought that in the age of a smartphone, no one would carry a game console. Yeah, apparently that.
I mean, I don't carry mine around. I do handheld at home, but I mean I know plenty of people that have taken on the plane and stuff. So
I take mine to work when the nights where I'm actually going to get a break. So I'll kind of.
I mean, having a home console quality game at like on the go is just, like everyone's always wanted that. So
yeah.
Yeah, the Vita was the first tease of that, and the Switch is sort of the, I would say, almost full-fledged realization of that, which is kind of nice. So, all right. And I think that wraps it up for news, guys. Anything else real quick here that you can think of that we missed?
Let's see.
I got nothing.
I can tell you how to unlock Destiny 2's heroic public events.
Okay, why don't you do that on your own separate podcast there? Or go to GameSpot, where I'd say 9/10 of their news dump this week was Destiny. Like literally, like we were doing that before the show started. The first page was all Destiny 2 except the LA Noire thing that we spotted.
Yeah, Destiny's popular.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was very good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It
was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was it as good as the original?
I think it. When was the last time you watched the original? First of all, it's
Okay. Was he as good as Tim Curry in the original?
I think the overall design is weaker because it goes for a less. It's not as scary because the original design goes for a more realistic looking clown, but it also makes more sense as a monstrous looking clown because he's not actually a clown or like a spirit or anything. So like the part at the end when you find out more about him is less jarring and easier to believe than it is in the original movie. In my opinion, if that makes any sense to you guys, like it's.
And real quick, this movie kind of cuts off at the end of the kids saga, right?
Yeah, it is chapter 1.
Okay, but
I feel like
it kicks out the child fucking orgy in the sewer, right?
It does. Have you ever read the book, Frankie?
No, I haven't.
There is some fucking shit in that book. That is as
pinko liberal as Stephen King comes across, man, he's got some weird fucking baggage in his books.
This was the last book he wrote. This is the last book he wrote before his family had an intervention with him about alcoholism. This was like. Yeah,
I read this book when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Probably a little too early to have read that fucking book.
Yeah, because the kids in the book are 11. I think the kids are a little older in the movie than they are in the book.
Okay.
I feel like they might have been. It was hard to tell what grade they were in. I might have just missed it. Anyway, they're 11. They're 11 in the book. They're all 11, and there's an orgy scene in the book between all of them. And it's
if it took place in a pizza place, I mean, it would be like Hillary Clinton was doing it.
Oh my god!
Autograph pizza orgies. Okay, so
yeah.
Actually, that sounds kind of delightful. I'd have an orgy with a pizza.
the like bully character gets jerked off by the other bully character is basically like a serial killer in training at this point. Like that character, he's a very minor character. The serial killer-ish character is very minor in the movie, and you don't really get that at all about him. But in the book, he's a fucking psychopath. Like he locks animals in like a fridge in the junkyard till they die and stuff like that.
Wow. Well, you know, I kind of got that feeling from him, but it's like they clearly don't go into it as much as they apparently should have.
The bully character is
no, not should have, could have. Thank God.
Yeah. This movie's very rated R still though. Like it's definitely truer. It is definitely truer to the book than the miniseries was.
Would you say it's R-rated as fuck?
I guess the miniseries probably had to tone it down either which way, considering it was on TV. So
those scenes are never going to be, and I don't think, especially that orgy scene. I don't think that will ever be put to film or TV. I don't think it is too much. There is, like in a book, it's like 7 pages long too. It
goes on for way longer than you think it would be.
It's like the end. It's like pretty much the end of chapter 1.
Oh no! That's gonna be the cold open then for the second movie.
Oh God! I'm looking forward to chapter 2. I'm looking forward to chapter 2. But it's also the weaker part of the book, so we'll see how that goes. In my opinion, at least, I think it's the weaker part of the book when they're adults. Mm-hmm. But it's also the part when everyone thinks of the movie, no one ever remembers like everyone thinks of like them going into the sewers and stuff, but everyone kind of I feel like forgets about them being older afterwards because they're just kind of not as interesting.
The main thing I remember is just the one. This tells you how long it's been. That just kills themselves.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
Yeah. The dinner scene I remember from the miniseries, but I would say he does Bill Skarsgård who plays it does a fine job, and they're like I said I feel like him being more monstrous does make the end of the movie make way more sense than it does the first in the original one, and less out of nowhere.
Well, see, what I really liked about the original is the way that Tim Curry, he's almost just like this happy-go-lucky clown, you know? He's kind of Jokerish in the way, you know? He just
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, you know, within a matter of seconds, he just turns so dark, which is kind of foreshadowing for what you find out about Pennywise as, you know, whole.
I'm not gonna sit here and besmirch Tim Curry's performance. I love Tim Curry, but he does a fantastic job in that movie. He's like the only thing in that movie that holds up is him. Other like the rest of it, does not really hold up at all.
Right, that's the reason to go back and watch it is Tim Curry. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean Tim Curry as Gabriel Knight was that was a special treat too. So
yes.
Okay, well I'll be sure to watch that movie because I was kind of on the fence of it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna drag my mom to go see that because hers is the book I stole off the shelf and read when I was like 8. So I think if anyone's gonna be subjected to nightmares along with me, it's going to be her. I'm like, thanks, you ruined my childhood by keeping this book around where an 8-year-old can grab it.
I think I was a freshman when I read it, but
I think that's when I reread it, maybe like my junior year of high school. Yeah, it was. But yeah, in your single digits, that is not a book to read. That is a horrifying book. So
it's 1,100. It's 1,100 pages long. It's way too long too. That's kind of like
should have been 2 books. So anyway, let's wrap this up here because Frankie, I know you got to go. So do all the things as far as following us on social media, give us feedback, blah 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 blah. You know all that jam there. So. Yeah, I don't even know why we plug it most of the time. So I put all that shit in the show notes too, and then you just go on the front page of the website. So anyway, thanks for listening. This has been, like I said, this has been an abbreviated episode, and it's kind of what we were going for. So this way we can, John, you can go do your fantasy football thing. I can,
yeah.
Frankie, you can go do your work thing, and I can
slave away.
I can go ahead and go to a 36-year-old man's birthday party because, God, don't understand. Why at 36 you need a birthday party? But anyway,
they all float over there. They all float over there.
You know what? I'm gonna bring my Switch. I'm gonna bring my Switch. So I can play Rolling Thunder because I'm a 35-year-old man that wants to play a 30-year-old arcade game on a device. So anyway, we will talk at you guys next week.